What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to Reality Pill. Today we are going to react to another Kevin Samuels video. Before we get into it, make sure you guys like and subscribe.
Hello. How are you? Good. What do you got for me?
I'm extremely nervous. I've
That's all right. You
never
just
done
talk to
anything
me.
like this
You just talk to me.
before. Okay. So I believe that I am afraid of marriage.
Okay. How old are you?
I'm 26.
Okay. Do you have YouTube playing on another window or the TV on or anything like that?
No, just the Zoom call on.
Okay. You might want to turn your speakerphone down just a little bit. Why are you
Okay.
afraid of marriage?
I'm afraid of marriage because I was raised in a single home. So
Okay.
I didn't have a marriage I didn't grow up with my parents.
Okay. Your mom wasn't married? Your mother wasn't married?
No, she wasn't.
You have any siblings?
No.
Okay. So you're an only child and it was just you and your mom.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And actually, my mom passed away last year, so it's just me now.
I'm sorry to hear that. So you're basically on your own.
Hmm.
Um, have you gotten any therapy, counseling?
I just started therapy last week, so
Okay.
yeah.
So what was the longest relationship you've had?
Honestly, if I can even classify my last relationship as a relationship, it was only for like 3 months.
I said the longest.
Yeah.
You've only had a 3-month relationship?
It was my first and only relationship that I've had.
Oh, man. Yeah, already we see exactly what we're cooking up with. This is a woman with severe trauma. Severe trauma. One, she's the only child, and already that can come with its problems already. And if you're an only child, there's nothing wrong with that. But what typically comes with being the only child are usually problems that reflect itself in relationships with people or with your significant other. But now she doesn't have neither one of her parents, and she came in saying she fears marriage. And I thought that was kind of a bit off, because how can you fear marriage if you've never seen it and then see it go awry? You know? Like, if you were to see your parents married and you seen like a whole bunch of things being introduced into this relationship that scared you as a child, that would make sense as to why maybe when you get a bit older you don't want to actually be married. But because she didn't even see that, raised an alarm in my head. But this is all starting to make sense. This woman is going through a severe case of trauma in all angles of life.
Oh,
So
okay. So you're like a
yeah.
femcel. That's not an insult,
Mhm.
but a femcel is female incel. You're
Okay.
involuntarily celibate because you can't effectively date. It's not an insult.
I like that. No, I like that.
But see, when men have this thing of words, but see, there are women who are, when men have this category thing going on, they call these guys, say this happens because they're socially awkward and this and that. But there is a growing cohort of women who are just the same, under 30. This is in Western countries worldwide. 30 and unders are starting to not date. So are you still untouched?
No.
Okay. This is when it becomes kind of troublesome.
Oh Lord.
What?
Nothing.
Well, all right. So, what do you want out of life? From what kind of relationship do you want?
I want to be married. That is definitely one of my goals.
Why?
So
How do you want to be married?
why do I want to be married? I feel like it's always been a desire of mine growing up, especially not not being raised by both parents. Like it's something that I always longed for. Like I would say, like, oh, like when I have kids, I want to be married and have a husband and have a father in their lives.
Okay.
Kevin's like, okay, I guarantee you right now, he's probably thinking, yeah, I haven't heard her mention not one thing about what she's going to do for that man or even prioritizing him. It's all a dream to this woman as at this moment. It's a fantasy. She's seen it in Disney. She wants it on paper in real life, but she doesn't care about becoming a wife. She doesn't care about that. She just cares about selfishly. And again, this makes sense with an only child. Her selfish reasons. That's the only thing she cares for. Everything for herself. She just cares about the lifestyle, how it's going to look, and what she's seen before, and how she wants that to be in resemblance. Other than that, she doesn't care about the man.
You. There needs to be more to.
There needs to be more to it.
Yeah, a lot more.
Okay. Um, I would say honestly, like,
Okay, it sounds to me like you are very immature in relationships. At 26 years old, if you've only had a 3 month relationship, um, and I don't mean to be insulting, but it seems far more common for, especially for folks in their, it's far more common for young people today to just be having sex, random hookup sex, and no relationships. So it's not uncommon for women, young ladies your age, to have had several sexual partners and no boyfriends. Do you fit in that category?
I guess I would fall into that category, but
Uh,
it's not necessarily like um, how do I put it? Like it's not something that's like an active pursuit. It's more of like, I get to know a guy and I feel like things can develop into something more serious. But then later down the line, they just, want me for my body or whatever. So
you know, you don't make it a requirement either, and you don't make it a requirement that you're in a monogamous relationship and you want to have sex. Well, let's just back up. Let's back up. Rewind. Sketch that. You want to have sex too. So it's not like they're just taking advantage of you.
yeah.
All right. So that's what needs to be said because the way women like yourself tell these stories is you're the victim, other than an active, willing participant in non-relationship, non-committal sex. And the problem is, by the time you get to somebody you might be able to have a relationship with, you've had sex with too many men and you cannot bond. Like if you've had sex with more than 5 men, I'm not going to ask you how many sexual partners you've had, but at 26, one, if you, let's say you lost your virginity at, most people do it at 16 or 18, let's split the difference and say 17. And you had one partner every 6 months, that's 9 years of having sex. That's two a year, which is not a lot. That would be close to 18 sexual partners. So there's no real therapy that's going to be able to help get you on track to bond with somebody if you've had so much meaningless sex. I'm talking to you and young
Mhm.
ladies. You guys need to stop this because at least back in the day, you had to be somebody's girlfriend before you got laid. You guys are just having sex at a swipe It's called hookup sex. It's the hookup economy, Netflix and chill. But the way the story gets told is, I went by his house, we Netflix and chill, we hooked up, but it just didn't work. No, you had sex and he never wanted to have anything more than sex, and you wanted to have sex, and that was good enough. I was saying this on Instagram the other day. It is far more common in your generation for people to have sex first and then go on a date second. And that has no, I don't understand how you guys expect to get to healthy relationships with that warped way of doing things. So when I ask you if you want to be married, you say yeah, and I say why, and you basically tell me a Disney story. Because I always wanted to have a blank, a man over here with a question mark on his face, so I could get this feeling that I wanted to have when I was a girl, and this picture that I have in my head. Okay. I said, I need
Mhm.
far more than that. And you're like, well, what? I'm like, yeah. Like, what are you going to do for him? What's he going to get for marrying you? What do you bring to the table? See what I
Would you
mean?
like me?
Yeah,
Yeah, would you
I
like
want to
me to
know.
answer?
I want to know.
Okay. So I believe that what I bring to the table is my ambition and drive. I'm pretty well educated, and just kind of having like a different point of view, because I view like relationships and things as more of like a partnership. So being
Oh man, this is just for the for as Kevin say, the critics and detractors. For the people that dislike his message, listen to this foolishness. Does this sound like someone who is ready to be in a marriage that knows what they're going to do for their man, or is their man going to benefit in any way? This woman said this woman said that she wants a man. And Kevin asked, "Well, what is that man going to get?" She pretty much said her ambition and her personality. That's what he's going to get. Are we serious? Marry me and you'll get ambition and a personality and a partnership where you guys are on the same level. So when she's looking at him, no, she's not going to help him with his stuff. They're on the same level.
able to work with someone, kind of be like on their level.
See, I knew it. There you go.
Okay. What area of the country do you live in?
I live in Los Angeles.
Okay. You're gonna need to turn down your speakerphone because it is
Okay.
reverberating.
Sorry about that.
Okay,
Okay.
young lady. How many kids would you like to have?
Ideally, I would like to have probably 2 or 4.
2 or 4, so 3 kids.
Mm.
And would you like to have to work to pay significant bills after you're pregnant with your first child?
I think it really depends on like
Would you like to
my
have to? Would you like to have to work to pay significant bills after your first child?
no.
All right. How much would a man need to make in Los Angeles to have a stay-at-home wife and 3 children living a middle-class life? How much would he need to earn annually?
Living in Los Angeles, he would probably need to earn upwards of probably upwards of like 80K annually.
80,000
Yes.
with for 5 people?
Yes. Yeah, I think so.
80,000. You can barely live by yourself at $80,000 in Los Angeles.
I'm living. I'm living by myself now under 80,000.
Yeah, you should have just held that comment.
Oh, sorry.
Young lady, you know, I mean, and I'm trying to be nice. I don't want you to take this the wrong way, but you don't know about this. How much it costs to raise a child. And how many times have you watched my show?
I would say probably like twice
Well,
now.
but what you're talking about, 3 kids, even in living in Dallas, Houston, Austin, Atlanta, where the cost of living is half what it is here, you're talking about roughly $300,000 a year. I'm here in LA.
Mm.
Popeyes, a Popeyes 5 chicken tender combo here is 13 damn dollars. And it's seven, almost $8 in Atlanta. You cannot raise you are in poverty at 80,000. You would need closer to $700,000 for you to be a stay-at-home wife. And see, I've asked all these questions, and what I'm trying to show is you ladies really have no concept of, well, you're not ready for a relationship. I'm just saying that right now. You need to get your therapy, and you need to get around some grown people, and you need to really mature because the way you talk about relationships, it's almost like talking to a teenager, not a 26-year-old woman. There's no way you could be 20, should be 26 years old and think, you know, that $80,000 just because you can live on what you're making. Because we're talking about your husband would have to replace your income and provide for 3 children.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but you're not doing that off of 80,000, especially living in LA. You're not. I mean, again, listen, anything is possible, right? But let's be realistic. For them to have the proper looking after, you will need more money than that. Like I'm talking medical visits. They need braces. You know, something happened to them. They need the medical care. You're buying clothes. They're going to a decent school. You know, it doesn't have to be the best life. Just something every kid should at least have as the bare necessities, right? And a chicken tender, a 3-piece chicken tender over here is $16.89. Kevin, I'm gonna let you know that right now. This is getting crazy.
That in and of itself can't be done by most people in this country without 2 people working. The men who make the kind of money to support a stay-at-home wife with 3 kids are in the top 10% or top 5% of men. And why I said that, what do you bring to the table? You said ambition, this and that. Where do men rank all those? What are the kind of men that make that kind of money? Where do they rank those things with women? Ambition and drive and education. You think they're where do you think they rank those things?
Um, I'm not sure.
They don't rank them at all. They don't rank them at all. If you watch my channel over and over and over again, you are like you're like so many young ladies who've been lied to. You've been sold a fantasy. You've been told that your education, your ambition, your money, and all that matters. Why do you think so many women are angry at me? Because I keep telling women that the kind of men you want don't want that from you. They want women who are feminine, beautiful, inspirational, fit feminine, fit feminine, friendly, cooperative, and submissive. They don't care about your PhD or what money you're making. All that matters after you're attractive and feminine to them, if that man wants those things. Because if you're going to be a stay-at-home wife, what difference does it make if you have ambition and drive? You're not in the work world, right?
Hmm.
So you got a lot to learn about relationships, a lot to learn about men, and unfortunately, your mom's passed, right?
Yes.
Where's your dad?
Out of the picture, I have no information about him. Sorry.
So who are your friends and your support system and your network?
Um, I'm very close with one of my cousins who lives in DC. Um, and I do have a couple of friends out here in LA.
Well, this is where I would always say I don't know what your religious preference is, but you need a community of people around you, uh, because we can't change our family situation, but as hard as cold as this may sound, the world does not owe us understanding, and they expect us to be at a certain level of development at a certain age, and there's nobody that's going to be able to teach it to you. So uh, I wish you the best, but number one thing is therapy. Number one thing is therapy to kind of a get on track and then understand what you need to know about yourself, what makes you tick, and then also when you're out here dating, you have to understand what men want from women, especially the kind of men who are marriage minded, because those are two different kind of men. Men are either put women into two categories: wives and everything else. So unfortunately, you'll have a support system. You need one because there's a lot of information that you don't have that you're going to need to have out here to be successful at interactions with anybody. But I will say this: until that happens, you need to stop having sex. Stop having random indiscriminate sex to try to feel to try and trying to feel something. That is not going to end well. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Have a good night. Yeah, that's a tough one. That's a tough one, guys. But it's a tough one, but it still needs to be said because here in LA, LA eats women. LA eats girls like her up. The world eats girls like her up. No safety net, no father to speak of. Mother's gone. No siblings. That's a baby gazelle on the Serengeti. And for people who don't understand what I'm saying, especially if you're older, you don't understand that I am dead ass serious. It is far easier for modern dating for people are having sex before they go on dates. Hell, you hear him talk about it on YouTube. I'm not gonna take you out nowhere, and I gotta see what that's like. I'm talking about before they share a meal, they shared each other's body. So for the folks who are older, over 40, don't try to make your life theirs. And there are things called fem cells, female incels. That was one. And they are just as clueless about the opposite sex, mating, dating, as men are. The thing is, men get shunned and called weirdos and goofies and lames. Women get overlooked. But they exist, and that's not a small number either.
Mm. Man, shout out to Kevin, dropping knowledge, surgical as always, and of course, a very, very informative video. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. Make sure you guys turn on post notifications so you will be alerted when we upload more videos just like this one. Go check out Kevin Samuel's channel. Let's keep the Godfather's name alive. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.